Hi, everyone. Welcome to BLG18. I'm Paul B.
I'm Jay.
MJ, how you doing this morning?
Good. I'm doing great.
Yeah. Pretty nice out
So
today.
what's our topic left over from last time, and what are we cutting into this time?
Yeah, I think we should focus, maybe go a little deeper on expectation.
Okay.
And give people an idea when it comes to expectation. You've got to make a decision when to make that leap. I know you can talk a lot about that as far as business.
Yeah.
For golf, it's really about mental preparation. It's what do you do before you tee off? And I guess that'd be the best way to start and cover this.
Yeah, and from my point of view, the next thing is, you you looked at their marketplace, you thought it through, and I'm being upfront, everybody, you're wrong and you're wrong. And we'll get into why you're wrong in both of those. But it's back to what your expectations are, what your vision is, and what's really possible. And they say have a 5-year plan. I don't believe in a 5-year plan. I think when you get started, maybe 18 months is about as far as I would think you should think out, and then reconsider where you are after 18 months. But,
I agree.
But as far as expectations are concerned, I know for golf, and I'm kind of stepping on you a little bit here, Paul, but and I think we touched on this once before. When you start, you shoot 120, it's goodness gracious. But then you come out again and shoot 105. You say, you think you're on top of the world. Am I wrong?
No, absolutely. All of a sudden, even if it's one stroke or just one shot on let's say a hole that you always have a problem with, but this time there was no problem. You managed to, you were 105 out, and you hit your club and it landed. It was 20 feet from the pin, and you're like. And it's something that expectation now brings you back.
That's right. You do the happy dance.
Yeah, because in golf, and anybody who plays any sport knows you only need one hit, one good stroke, one drop shot, whatever it happens to be. That one thing is what gives you that confidence to go, I can do this. Yeah, I'm going to keep working on this. The problem is people don't work on it. They just come back the next time, without having done any work.
Yeah. The pros go to the tee and they hit 1,000 balls before the tee off. We go and we hit a breakfast ball.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, right.
and then we expect to go out and shoot par.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's funny when I play with people like that, they'll go on the first tee and they'll go breakfast ball, and I'll say no. No,
it's not going to make any difference.
Yeah, because quite honestly, part of your mental preparation in golf is you've got to be able to, before you step on the first tee, you have to have already focused on a series of events that you expect to happen during the round. And that's what you're going to practice. So you're practicing hitting drives. You're practicing hitting 7-irons. You're practicing some chipping, some putting, whatever it is. You're relaxing. Maybe you get something to eat, and for you have to have something to eat, and you have to just sit and relax with your eyes closed for a few minutes. Whatever it happens to be. You have to go through that same series every time. Because if you don't, if you rush and you get there 5 minutes before your tee time and you're not ready for that, there's no way mentally and physically that you're ready to play.
Yeah.
You need that extra time to, okay, now I feel like I'm ready.
Yeah. And in business, like I said, you might think you know the market, you might think you know the pricing, but then when they come to the forecast, that's where the tire hits the road. You have to be realistic in your and nobody does. I'll be honest with you. Your first be full of rose-colored glasses. Okay, you're going to think that I can do this and we can do that, and the reality is no, you can't.
Yeah, you can't.
And then you got to go back and say, okay, so an example. Let's say you're going to sell a product. Okay, so you got to buy a product, and it's just you starting. And so that's okay. Well, I'll store it in my garage and I'll deliver it out of my car. All right.
Yeah, there you go. Great.
Yeah, and that's terrific. But you see, that isn't going to work if you don't look at the horizon, which you do with a golf shot. If you don't look at the horizon and say, what do I price it at? What is my market? And again, you got to keep asking yourself, who are you taking business away? And
that's a good point.
That's a very good point when it comes to starting your own business.
Right.
Who is your competition, and are they too big to fail?
Oh, I'm sure you have plenty of examples from that.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Actually, I had one real quick one that actually when I was running my own business there for a while, I had a guy that wasn't making enough money, and I understood that. He had a family, and it just wasn't. He decided to go on his own, and what he did was he got similar products to mine, and he put it in his garage, and he bought the stuff, and then everybody said, "Oh my goodness, he's out there cutting prices." I says, "Relax, relax." And he grew, and then after a while, he got so big he couldn't deliver out of his car anymore, so he got a truck. And he says, "Oh," and they said, "Oh my God, now he's got a delivery truck." Relax, just relax. And then all of a sudden, he started getting more and more business. And what happened to him was he had to get a bigger warehouse, and he had to get a bigger truck. But he was pricing stuff like he was still in his garage, and he didn't have that secret weapon, administrative overhead. What does it take you to run your business? And the bigger you get, the more your costs are. And if you don't take that into account, and within 6 months, he was knocking on my door. He says, "I'd like to sell out to you." Because he just couldn't handle receivables. He couldn't say, he couldn't handle what he owed what he owed the people he's buying the product from. He, because his prices did not match his growth.
That's interesting.
So so when you do your forecast, be careful. Don't use it in today's time. Think about this. Where are you going to go? If you price things too low to start with in your forecast, it's going to come back to hit you in the fanny. It will. And it does every time. And I can't tell you how many businesses go out of business because they don't price it right for them to move to the next level.
That's interesting because see, now you remind me of how people at home are too. They do their pricing, they do their family budget based on today. Now all of a sudden inflation hits.
Yep.
All of a sudden, well, no, the price of this went up 10%. And where's that 10% coming from? And then they don't know. And of course, the American crutch, actually it's probably a global crutch, but the American crutch is the credit card.
Yeah, credit cards. Credit cards are the kiss of death for a business and for a personal.
Yeah, I like. How do you factor in that type of interest? Because to me that you didn't plan correctly. So now you have a shortfall. How do you plan that? Oh, well, I'll just use my credit cards now, even though I'm paying 30%. How do you plan that in?
Yeah. And it's the same thing if you're doing a service contract. Maybe you're selling a product or you're selling yourself or something like that, and which is great. You can start working out of your home and you can work out of the trunk of your car. That's where you put your list of customers and you go from customer to customer to customer and you get orders and all that starts. And then all of a sudden, they want you there more often, or they want to buy more product, or they need in-house training. Now, where does that happen? How does that happen?
Right.
And what's your pricing model to make that happen? So when you look at a forecast, it is a forecast not for what it is today. It's what it's going to be if you have any success. And if you have success and the model is an old model, you won't succeed. You're going to fail because you just can't handle the growth.
Yeah. Now at that point, do you suggest talking to SCORE or the SBA, or find somebody who understands today's business to make sure you're not using outdated models?
I think I don't know if you need to go there. You need to go to account. You need to know somebody that understands what happens when you have growth. When let's say you're successful, but you didn't price the product right, you're going to eat yourself. And I know everybody wants to be the lowest in the market. Everybody wants to do this best, that best. I want to make the best pogo sticks. Okay, you want to make the best pogo sticks, and you got a good deal, and you assemble them in your garage, and all of a sudden you get an order for 10,000 pogo sticks. Oh my God, you're so happy. Then all of a sudden you say, oh my God, I got to hire people to make the pogo sticks.
Where am I getting this?
Yeah, and I got to, and then you happen to sell the 10,000 pogo sticks, and then before you get paid, you get an order for another 10,000 pogo sticks. Well, now what do? You haven't paid the vendor that you bought them from, and the customer hasn't paid you yet. Yes, you got to buy another 10,000 pogo sticks. And you got to pay the employees to make the pogo sticks. All right. So there's ways around that, and we'll get to it later on. But I mean, there are ways around it. But that's what happened. And then they say, well, I have a line of credit on my credit card. At 20%. Sure, go ahead, use that. Let me know how that works out. And I'm not trying to be negative. What I'm trying to do is get people ready to be ready.
See, a lot of people don't consider that moving forward in terms of what am I going to need in the future when it comes to, I can tell you from a golf perspective, one of the big things I teach is mental preparation. Mental preparation really is getting yourself ready for the round. And that starts from time you wake up till the time you hit the first tee. And there's a whole series of events that you have to put yourself through if you're going to play well. Now, anybody can show up, not warm up, duff the ball around the course the entire day. Well, if they're having fun doing it, that's the point of the game. But if you really want to excel at a game like golf, first thing you have to do is when you get to the course, don't worry so much if you don't get the best parking spot. To me, golfers show up, they drive around for 10 minutes looking so that they don't have to walk an extra 50 feet on a course that they're going to walk, they're going to take 4,000 steps, even if they're in a cart and they're worried about walking 50 feet for a bike.
I've seen that.
Right.
Yeah.
So just find a parking spot. Now sit down, get your shoes on, get yourself together, get yourself breathing, get there early enough. Because part of being relaxed is you got to get there early enough. Because if you're rushing, your mind doesn't have a chance to line up, because it's got to line up all those steps. So you get there early enough, you get your shoes on, you get your clubs out, you check in. All the time you just relax. And while you're relaxing, you think about, what am I trying to accomplish today? Because in golf, it's all about today. In business, you're looking down the road. But in golf, it's about, what am I looking to accomplish in the next 4 to 5 hours? And it could be as simple as, I want to hit my wedge as well today. I want to hit 10 fairways off the tee today. You keep them small, because if your increments are small, they're a lot easier to assess down the road, and they're a lot easier to accomplish. A lot of times, though, people then go to the range, and they call it a driving range because all they do is they pull out their driver, they hit 30 drivers, they don't even look at where the ball's landing, they don't take into account, how is my swing today? Because a lot of professionals, when they go to a range before a match, they don't do anything other than, did I hit the ball in the center of the club? Did I hit the ball in the center of the club? That's all they look at. And when you watch them, they go from wedge, and then they go down to driver. Wedge, they take the most shots with. Driver, they take the least amount of shots with. And every time, all it is, did I hit it in the center of the club? That's how they get prepared for their round, because they don't think mechanically. Amateur golfers think mechanically. Everything's about, are my hands right? Is this right? How do I feel? Am I too close? And I compile all that into the idea that professionals, and I'm going to use them to compare because they're the only people golfers watch. Professionals live in the present moment. Everything is about now. Not what happened last shot, not what happened driving here, not the argument you had at home. They think present. They don't even look ahead. Or the only ahead they look at is once the ball stops rolling from the shot, now they start thinking ahead, okay, what club do I want to use? So as they're driving up, they're checking the wind. They're checking the terrain. They're checking everything they need to check before they even get to the ball. And so for a lot of golfers, if you want to get better, I think in terms of your mental preparation, on the range, see what swing you bring into the course. If you're fading the ball a lot, play a fade. Till it straightens out, play a fade. Or if you're drawing on the range a lot, play a draw till it straightens out. Don't try and force fix your swing on the course. Always go back to the original swing. Never try and change the swing based on what you're doing. Go back to your original swing and start with that. And golfers, if they stay in the present moment, if they take a look at the shot right in front of them and they line it up and then they swing, they watch the ball roll and they watch where it stops rolling and no other thoughts come in, now the conscious mind doesn't have a chance to change the body in the swing. The subconscious just takes over and just does the swing. And so in terms of like what you're talking about as well with business, just focus on the moment, get yourself prepared mentally and physically, and just play one shot at a time. Mentally focus on just with the shot in front of you and nothing else, because you can't do anything to change what just happened. And if you think about that, all it does is it brings angst into your body, which means it's bringing the conscious mind into the body. It's going to screw up your swing. So don't think about what just happened, and don't think about what you might be doing down the road. And down the road could be the next shot. It's only what's right in front of you, and just take care of that. When it stops rolling, put the club in the bag, forget about what just happened, move on to your next shot.
Yeah, and business is the same way. When you're putting together your forecast or what you think your projections are, sometimes it's good to just go out and make a few calls and see what the response is.
Yeah.
Because what I've learned, buyers or potential buyers love to talk and tell you that's a good idea or that's a bad idea, and here's why. Whether there's any credibility to it or not, you have to decide. But people love to hear themselves talk. So, that's why
I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, I remember when I used to go and make a cold call on somebody and there was their office, the first 3 seconds I'd look around the office. I see kids on the thing. Oh, you got kids, so do I. Or I see a fisher. Oh, you're a fisher. So then they start talking about themselves. And then you get to the point why you're there. Mm-hmm. The other problem is what people don't understand. You're putting in your forecast, but you got to be careful too. You like your forecast. Now you're a realistic forecast. You put the right prices in. You go out and you get an order the first time. Alarm, alarm, alarm. Why did you get the order?
Yeah.
Did you get the order because you're so great? I doubt it. Did you get the order because the guy needs 90 days to pay you, or he's in financial trouble?
Yeah.
Probably.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
So, these are all the quicksands that'll just bury you immediately. And so you come back saying, oh, this is great. Let's send the guy in. Okay. Yeah. When's he going to pay? He said he'll pay me in 30 days. Oh, okay. Now, 30 days come. Oh, we don't pay for 90 days. Oh.
It's not what I remember.
Yeah, that's not what we decided on. Yeah, I know. We're in some trouble here. I said, all right. Okay. In the meantime, you got to buy more product or you're doing a service you're not getting paid for. So these are all the pitfalls. And again, I'm not discouraging anybody. It sounds like I'm really a negative about starting your own business. What I'm trying to tell you is save you having this happen to you and giving you the directions so that you can avoid all those pitfalls.
Right.
Unfortunately, I had to learn the hard way. So, I
you're talking from experience.
Yeah, and I'll never forget the day when this guy owed me money, and he must have had $10,000 worth of cash on top and on his desk, and I think he owed me like $1,000, and he was late. This guy was so good. I walked out of there without my money, and there were 10,000. And I walked out. I said, "What just happened? What just happened to me?" And I went back to the office. I said, So, and of course, I went back in. And I said, "Wait." And we worked through it. But he was good enough to tell me, even though he had thousands of dollars in front of him, that he couldn't pay me $1,000. And me being a newbie at the time, okay,
right. Oh, I get it. Yeah, I see.
We'll work with you.
Right.
Baloney. You have to feed the family. You have to feed yourself. Yeah. There is no working with people.
Yeah.
They don't have the money. Move on.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and you're right, because I can see in business where you would do whatever you could in the beginning to grab a customer.
Absolutely. Yeah. You bend over backwards to get a customer. Yeah. And I tell you what, don't bend over backwards. It never pays off.
Right. Would you say that if you encountered somebody who tried that tactic and you just kind of stood up and said, okay, well, thanks, and started to walk out, that they might go,
you know what makes you successful is walking away from a deal. Mm-hmm. That makes you successful. It really is a case of who blinks first. And you've got to be able to walk away, because some people, when they I had a guy I used to call on. Of course, I was young at the time. He was a wholesaler. I'd call on him and give him my deal, and he would just sit there and look at me. Said nothing. And I'd sit there. All right. So, and I also can give you, and he'd just sit there. And then he finally said, well, that's a good deal. I gave the place away because he said nothing.
Yeah. Right.
The silence killed me.
Right. right?
You know, it's like when you watch those ads on TV, you know, $19.99, but wait, you know, it's the same, you know.
Yeah.
We'll give you
If you
free
act
shipping,
now, you're a fool.
you know, limited time offer, you know. So you got to have your plan and you got to stick to your plan. And if I mean, this is my deal, thank you for your time.
Okay.
And walk away.
And walk away. Yeah, that's interesting. You know, it's funny. You reminded me. So I was playing in a match a few months ago, and it was a finals at the club. And first, when I play, like when we play together,
yeah.
You know how we banter,
yeah,
right? Well, that's how I am in a match. Well, the guy I'm playing doesn't like to banter, so you know. Me bantering kind of puts him in an uncomfortable position.
That's right.
Him not bantering back puts me in an uncomfortable position. And part of the mentality of golf is you have to be able to ignore all the outside elements. And the hardest thing to ignore is somebody in your cart that, not in a bad way, you don't get along with. How do you handle that stress, for lack of a better word, that, you know, maybe the guy likes to listen to his music while you're swinging. Well, I don't want music playing when I'm swinging. I'm old school. You know, you don't have to be dead quiet, but if you want to play your music, turn it down while I'm swinging. That's all I have ever asked from people. But what if he doesn't? Well, mentally, I've got to be strong enough to just say, okay, there's going to be music playing today. Okay. Then I'll just, you know, I'll put it out of my head. And when I get up to hit, you have to just mentally be strong enough, just like with you, mentally strong enough to walk away and say, no, I don't want this. You have to be mentally strong enough to be able to say that whatever that distraction is coming from the conscious mind. And the more you learn to turn the conscious mind off, all those distractions go away. And then it doesn't really matter what's happening around you. And the best players in the world, though professional golfers, if he's ready to take his backswing and he hears anybody in the world would get distracted by that. But if he hears people talking and he knows that that's just the way it is, you know, like in pro-ams.
Yeah.
These guys don't play worse in pro-ams. And look what goes on in pro-ams now. They blot it out because it's all just subconscious. Right. It's the swing is a subconscious function. Anytime you add the conscious mind, you immediately alter muscles. Remember, there's like 58 muscles that have to fire in a half a second perfectly in order to hit a good shot. Well, the only way that can happen is if the conscious mind is gone. And so I think part of the mental preparation of the round is you have to be able to assess what's going on and have a strong enough intent on playing your game to be able to say, that's not going to bother me. That's not going to bother me. I'm going to think in the moment, hit my shot. And then once the club's back in the bag, do whatever you want, you know, sing along.
So back to the other part, when you put a realistic, not the rose color, when you put a realistic forecast with your AO and H, you know, administrative overhead, because it's there. Mm-hmm. And as things grow, that grows, you know, mm-hmm. insurance, all this stuff, put it in there. Mm-hmm. And then you come down and says, wow, I don't think I can sell the product for what I thought I could sell it for because I won't make any money. That's right. You won't.
Yeah, you won't.
If you grow a little bit, you're in trouble. And then you got to go back to your customer and raise their price.
Yeah.
And and I'll tell you, a buyer thinks that that's bait and switch, and they really get mad at that.
Yeah.
They really get mad at that. You're better off going in with your best price, offer service. You know, there's three. You got service, price, and quality. And you tell your guy, pick any two.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if everybody gives you all three, there's something's wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a red flag.
That's a red flag. Mm-hmm. So you got three things to offer them. Pick any two you want.
Right. Right.
And I remember telling a buyer that. Here's the deal with me. You know, service, quality, you know, and price. What pick two? I can give you two. Right. And it's up to them to decide what they want to do.
Right.
So.
And that's, in the end, that's a smart move, because anybody who believes you can give them all three knows you're a sucker.
Yeah.
And he's got you.
And I think the next time we'll be talking about, once you do put your forecast together, we got to look at how do you finance this thing. And I
Okay.
have a couple of
Okay.
things, ways to finance it.
Okay.
And there again, depending who you are or what you're doing and who you know, it
Right.
determines how you can finance it.
Okay.
And
Okay.
there's a lot of scary ways to finance it, and there's a few risk-free ways of financing it.
Right.
But again, it really boils down, when you look in the mirror, you say to yourself, I'm confident in my forecast. I went out and I did my research in the marketplace.
Yeah,
We can be competitive, and we
Right.
can grow as a business in this marketplace.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. You know what? Why don't we pick that up on the next one? And why don't we delve some more now into business and life, golf and life? Let's bring in the parallels to how people can look at their life as well as how we look at business and golf.
Well, I think life really is a culmination of your experiences.
Mm-hmm. It is.
And how you handle adversity, how you handle joy, how you handle disappointment. Yeah. How do you handle pressures of a family, of finances? And a lot of people have a hard time with all those, especially if they're happening all at once. Right. And most of your life, unfortunately, as you know, Paul, it all happens at once.
Oh, absolutely, it does.
You know, so
yeah. So let's get into that on the next one.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Good. All right. Good. Well, thanks for watching, everyone.
Yep. Nice talking to everybody.
See you
Have
next
a good
week.
day.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.